Breaking conspiracy news: 13,000 JFK documents have been declassified. According to a CIA spokesman, 95% of the files have now been released in full. But let's not forget, in October, the Mary Farrell Foundation sued the government for not releasing the remaining files. According to the National Archives, in 2017, they released over 30,000 files, and in 2018, another 18,000. Now, JFK is a nice, safe rabbit hole to go down if you're interested in becoming a conspiracy theorist. In fact, the Abe Lincoln JFK similarities conspiracy was my first. And my mom forwarded me an AOL chain letter because she didn't want to get bad luck. That's also where I learned about this classic conspiracy, Paul is dead. But JFK is an endless rabbit hole. From the lady in the red dress, who claims that the gunman was not Lee Harvey Oswald. She claims that she saw the gunman over on the grass. And no, this is not Dolores Cannon. Please don't show the guy that thinks Dolores Cannon is every single old white lady. There's actually a long list of witnesses who claim that the gunman was over on the grass, including Gordon Arnold. In the book Crossfire by Jim Marrs, he gives accounts of at least 5 more witnesses were intimidated by authorities. One of them even claims that an FBI agent told them that they might get killed if they say what they observed that day. And in the 3 years following JFK's death, 18 witnesses died. From gunfire, car accidents, taking their own life, having their throat cut, a karate chop to the neck, heart attacks, and natural causes. Now let's talk about Jack Ruby, the man who shot Lee Harvey Oswald. He was the owner of a burlesque striptease nightclub. And although the mainstream narrative has maintained that these two men did not know each other, there's quite a bit of evidence that points to the fact that they did. In this previously declassified document, one man alleges that he bumped into a group of hippies in Cuba who were traveling there to cut sugarcane. And among them was Lee Harvey Oswald, but also Jack Ruby. One of the dancers, Kitty, that worked at his nightclub, claims that Lee Harvey Oswald was at the nightclub 2 days before the shooting. Not only did many people come forward to say that Oswald and Ruby knew each other, one Dallas-based lawyer even went as far as telling the FBI he overheard Oswald and Ruby discussing their plans to assassinate the Texas governor, John Connally. And as you remember, John Connally was seriously wounded on that very day. Now, what's interesting is that Governor John Connally was close friends with the vice president at the time, Lyndon B. Johnson. And according to Vice President Lyndon Johnson's mistress at the time, Madeleine Brown, she accompanied Johnson to a party the night before JFK's assassination. And according to her, Johnson was pleading with the governor to not sit in the seats in front of JFK the next day. His mistress, Madeleine Brown, also claims that during some pillow talk, she asked who killed JFK. He replied it was the CIA with the oil men. According to a former aide of President Nixon, he claims that Lyndon B. Johnson actually orchestrated the assassination. He also claims that Lyndon B. Johnson had a personal relationship that had been documented on paper with both Jack Ruby and Lee Harvey Oswald, years before the assassination. He also claims that Nixon knew Jack Ruby, that he was made to hire him at the request of Lyndon Johnson in 1947. Now, what makes this even more suspicious is that in a previously declassified document, when Richard Helms, the head of the CIA at the time, was asked, is there any information that shows whether Lee Harvey Oswald was a CIA agent himself? And then the document mysteriously ends. Some other bombshells from previous CIA drops that a British newspaper got a call 25 minutes before the assassination saying that there was about to be some big news in America, as well as documents of the head of the CIA saying that he was worried that the American public might not believe that Oswald was the actual assassin, that the public must believe that he acted alone. Now, you may or may not know this, but the year before the assassination, the CIA came up with Operation Northwoods. Northwoods was a false flag operation against American citizens. The proposals called for CIA operatives to stage and actually commit acts of violence against American citizens and then blaming it on the Cuban government. And that some of these acts would be carried out on the boats of Cuban refugees. They would be either real or simulated, just enough to wound them for media publicity. Operation Northwoods was rejected by JFK. Many people believe that this is part of the reason why the CIA wanted him out. According to a 1966 New York Times article 3 years after JFK's death, JFK told one of his highest officials that he wanted to splinter the CIA into 1,000 pieces and scatter it into the wind. Was Lee Harvey Oswald a CIA agent? Why did Oswald meet with a KGB agent in Mexico City 2 months before the assassination? And what about about Ann Goodpasture, who was based out of the Mexico City office of the CIA, where under oath she admitted that she had been surveilling Oswald in Mexico? Or what about David Phillips, an undercover CIA agent who was also in Mexico City surveilling Oswald? What about this previously released CIA document between Lyndon B. Johnson and the head of the FBI, Edgar Hoover, where Hoover claims that there was a man using Oswald's name at the Soviet embassy? However, when they obtained recordings, the voice and appearance of the person did not appear to be Oswald at all. What about the claims of a 1983 Rolling Stone article, which claims that Lee Harvey Oswald may have been one of the people that was used in CIA testing of LSD? Well, let's see what the documents released today will bring. And what new details are we going to get about the communication between Oswald and the Soviet embassy?